Hello, this is Benitomo Kamimura from aps Academy. The purpose of this video is to help you learn how to read out loud. Let's get started. ピアニストを目指す少女の自伝 When I was an 8-year-old girl, I was taken for my first music lesson. Ms. Grozinska, the teacher, was a plain, elderly woman, and her apartment was thick with dust. But in the corner stood a magnificent grand piano, and when Miss Grozinska sat down to play a simple melody for me, I was amazed to hear such beauty come from under her fingers. As she played, she altered from a plain woman to someone whose movements were as harmonious as the sounds she was creating. I knew at once that I wanted to be able to bring forth sounds like that. Piano lessons were part of my parents' ambitions for me to have the better things in life. Musicians in Poland have sacred status, and having musical talent is an avenue of success open to all. As a first step toward fame, I was taken for a musical hearing test, and felt the shame of failing most of it. Later, though, one of my music teachers told me about the importance of inner ear, the ability to hear feelingly. In this, I turned out to be better. Of course, like many children, I hated practicing. It was extremely dull to go through the finger exercises endlessly, but as soon as I was given parts of real pieces, I learned them with enthusiasm. I didn't wonder about what they should sound like. I seemed to know. Music seemed to me as clear as words. At the end of 12 months of lessons, Miss Grozinska said to me, "Eva, you have talent." It was decided at once that I should train as a professional pianist, and I immediately entered Krakow Music School. It was an old school that combined a basic curriculum with a full music education. Inside, the atmosphere was warm with the sounds of violins, red-faced kids running around the narrow hallways, and the heat of competition. We wore a uniform which hid social inequalities, but the degree of everyone's talent was judged constantly. A performance, of course, was the peak toward which all the students worked. At the end of my first year at music school, I gave my first public performance, and I approached it with all the calmness of inexperience. When it was time to play, I felt such joy that I knew nothing could go wrong. I seemed not to be playing, but listening to the music it poured out of my fingers. It was a happy moment. But it was also the last time that I enjoyed such an innocent calm. From then on, performing became more self-conscious and more difficult. My childish fearlessness had gone, and I had to work harder to get the necessary combination of will and relaxation. The time I worked hardest was shortly before my family moved to Canada, when I was 17. Usually, the school resisted making stars of us, but they decided to make an exception to their policy and allowed me to give a whole concert by myself. This was a frightening idea, to get through many pieces without losing my nerve, and I practiced until my fingers hurt. I practiced to make absolutely sure that I wouldn't shame myself. I practiced until my teacher told me to slow down. I was more terrified than I had ever been as I sat backstage waiting to go on, and I got through the program not in that simple joy of my first performance, but through powerful focusing of mind and will. Afterward, though, I had my full reward. My friends were particularly generous with praise, and most exciting of all, my classmate's elder pianist brother came to tell me how well I'd done and kissed me in an unmistakably adult way. For one glorious moment, music, admiration, and romance all came together, just like they're supposed to. How did you do? This is it for today. See you next time.